Hey everybody, I believe it's 137, day 137 on the CDT. It's Sunday the 11th of September, and oh yeah, creepy tent video. That's only because I left town. I allowed myself to sleep in a bit, so I left town at 9, got on trail at like 9:20 or something, 9:30, and sorry, I got some sodium there, and so that cut out a few hours of hiking. So I was trying to get as many miles as possible tonight. I actually stopped and cooked dinner and ate dinner and then hiked about a mile and a half more after dinner. So we'll get to the reason for that in just a second, but let's see. So today was Montana hiking. Rocky tread, ups and downs, some of them pointless ups and downs. We did get some road walking, unpaid road walking, so like dirt roads, so that was nice. Kind of a break from the Rocky Trail. We were in the forest, but we did, when we got on the roads, actually we got out of a little bit on the trail, but mostly on the roads we got out of the forest. So it's kind of a mixed bag today. However, the first, I think 10 to 12 miles, it was rocky trail in the forest, up and downs. Like I think once I got back on trail this morning, the very first thing I did was ascend more than 1,000 feet. So that was partially on road and partially on trail, but it was steep. I think I ended up hiking about 21-ish miles today, so I'm gonna have to make up a few. I was expecting to average 25 over 5 days to get to the next resupply. But because I'm carrying 5 days of food, then I'm okay getting lower miles this first day or two, and then once my pack lightens up, picking up a few more miles. It seems like if I have 3 days or less in my pack, it rides better, and I can usually step and get higher mileage. So if I can get 24 or 25 tomorrow, and then do a couple days of like 27s or 28s to catch up mileage, then I'll be fine. So let's see. I ran into some local folks. Because it was Sunday, I didn't run into any CDT hikers. I actually ran into a few hunters. I ran into a few people out hiking. Actually several people out hiking, several groups of them. And I had a couple who owns a cabin actually drive their ATV up to where I was eating dinner, and had a nice conversation with them for about 45 minutes. So there were a lot of people out and about. 2 of the groups were local groups. The first group basically said that about where I end my mileage today is the start of, in quotes, real, unquote, bear country. I don't know what I was hiking in before, but apparently the stories of folks getting mauled or attacked by bears kind of starts right around where I am, or maybe just a little bit ahead of where I am. The couple who came and talked with me while I prepared and ate dinner, they were telling me all sorts of stories about this area and bears. So that's the reason why I decided to stop, cook my dinner, and filter my water, and then hike a little bit further, so that I didn't have the smell of food around my camp. I'm gonna see if I can try to do that for the most part going forward. And I pulled out my bear bell, so I'll be using my bear bell as well as yelling going forward. I have my bear spray. and, you know, not cooking at camp. I think that's, like, those things are basically what I'm going to be doing to try to make sure that I'm safe. Some of the stories were, hearing some of the stories, you're like, this is not adding confidence to my hiking. To say that I'm comfortable hiking like today and the next 9 days solo, would be incorrect. It would be an understatement. I'm very uncomfortable. There are some other hikers around me, but they're enough miles away that we're not leapfrogging or camping near each other. The folks that I was hiking around, they're still 3 to 4 days ahead of me. So I guess it is what it is. If I have a nasty encounter, if I get sketched out, then I'll have to make a decision of if I just want to hunker down and wait for some other hikers to get around me. It's windy out, so it's like talking about grizzly bears and yo bear. I think it's just the wind moving my rainfly. So talking about grizzly bears and then having the wind kind of rattle my tent a little bit, that's not helping. I'm gonna be as safe as possible. If something happens, then it happens. I'm less concerned about a bear coming into my tent at night, and the reason why is because if a bear comes into my tent for me, that's a predatory attack. Like, there's no doubts. It's a predatory attack. That means I got to fight back. I know that. Like, if they're coming to eat my food that's, you know, in a bear canister over there, that's different. They should get scared away if I hear them and say, you know, yo bear, or whatever it is. If they try to like start digging my pack out from under the rainfly, then yeah, again, they're smelling something and they're trying to get to it. Oh, sorry, I got lazy with the camera. But if they're coming through my tent to get me in the middle of the night, that's a predatory attack. I got to fight back as best I can. That's easy. It's cut and dry. So if they're going for my food, try to scare them away. If they're coming for me, fight back. What I'm really concerned about is in the middle of the day. One of the primary reasons for bear attacks is surprising a bear, especially a grizzly mother with cubs. So that's why I've been yelling for the last few weeks as I was hiking, and now I'm going to use a bell plus yelling to make sure I'm making noise, because if I can avoid surprising the bear, especially if it's got cubs, then I can avoid an attack for the most part. Surprising a bear means, I mean, you have to identify it as, hey, I just surprised a bear, now they're coming for me. I need to play dead so they, like, if they maul me, they'll leave me alone because they think I'm dead or not a threat. So I have to like try to identify that as it's happening. I have my bear spray, so I'm not going to play dead just immediately. You know, I'll harass the bear with words and rocks, and if it comes, then I got the spray. But you know, that's the thing I'm concerned about, is walking around a corner, surprising a bear, and the bear coming after me. So I gotta make sure I'm making my noise and do my best to avoid that. Everything else is pretty, I don't want to say everything, a lot of everything else, most of everything else is pretty cut and dry. Like, if it's coming for food, try to scare it away. If it's coming through the tent for me, it's a predatory attack, fight it off. So yeah, sometimes to me it's common sense that if you're going to do a hike like this, you prepare. So you take an ice axe course to make sure you know how to use crampons, microspikes, and self-arrest using an ice axe. You read books, and one of the books I read was Bear Attack. And Stephen is the first name of the author. The last name starts with an H, and I'm forgetting his name. But I've read that book, I think, 3 times. Once before the Colorado Trail, once before the PCT, and then I bought the newest edition, and I read it for the CDT. And I was reminded, I think Marty reminded me, that sometimes the stuff that I take for granted as common sense, it isn't necessarily what other people view as common sense. So, I had an experience, and I haven't mentioned it yet, but I had an experience I was hiking from Butte to Helena. It was the second day. It was the day I did 32 miles. So I got into camp really late, like 7:45. And I was aiming, like there were notes in our navigation app for a campsite. And I was aiming towards that campsite. And as I turned, I was talking out loud. So my thoughts in my head, I was saying them out loud. I was saying Yo Bear. I had music playing. Like I was making noise. It was 7:45 in Grizzly country. I'm making noise to avoid surprising a bear. And I turned the corner to where the campsite was going to be, and there was another hiker there. And I approached the hiker, and I said, "Excuse me." And the hiker didn't respond. The hiker was sitting there eating dinner. The tent was set up, like they had stuff out, and they were eating their dinner. And after a few seconds, I said, "Hey, excuse me." And the person didn't respond again. After saying it the second time, I waited like 15 seconds, and I said, "I want to make sure I get this right, or as right as possible, because our human memories are horrible, even though we think they're rock solid." But I think I said something along the lines of, "Hey mate, are you going to ignore me?" And the hiker still didn't respond. And I said, "Okay, never mind. I was just going to ask if it was okay if I camped here, but I'm not going to bother." And I didn't hike very far. I hiked 10 to 15 paces down the trail, cut to the left, and went and found a place on the opposite side of the trail and put my tent up and cooked my food, whatever it was. Now, because that hiker didn't talk to me or gave me the silent treatment, I have to assume, and my assumption is the hiker was having a dinner at a peaceful camp, and it was interrupted by somebody talking to themselves, yelling "Yo Bear," playing music, and making noise. And I'm going to assume that that hiker thought it was amateur hour, that I was ruining wilderness experience for other people. Now, in my head, I just assume that person's done research on bears, and they know that one of the primary reasons for attacks is surprising a bear, so you got to make noise. But I shouldn't make that assumption. I shouldn't assume that person's done research. So that person may, because I don't know, they just may be upset that I made noise and ruined their wilderness experience, and they're not looking at it from the point of, hey, this person's making noise to avoid a bear attack. So I'm gonna walk out here yelling "Yo Bear" with my bell ringing and making a whole slew of noise, and I may upset some hikers, but I'm gonna try to be safe. So anywhoozy, that was a primary point for tonight, was just talking about like the Grizzly country stuff, especially since a group of 3 people that were locals basically said, hey, you're about to enter real bear country. So thought I'd just give a little rundown of what I'm going to do to try to protect myself. So, all right. Today's shout out. There's a trail angel in Helena, Tom. He's supplying water at 2 water caches, and he also provides rides to hikers. So shout out to him for helping us out, especially since this stretch is super dry. There were only 2 water sources for me today. After I started hiking, and I'm not including the cache. So the cache was like a 3rd source. But since it's super dry, Tom's caches are really helping us out. So a shout out to Tom. I hope everyone's having a nice evening. Thank you for watching the videos, and I will try to figure out a schedule so you don't keep getting creepy tent videos. We may have to shift it to lunch, maybe. I don't know. All right, I'll talk to you folks later. Bye.